But welcome to the live room. As always, we're going to live stream the first trading idea on the radar today to YouTube and TradingView with the top trading idea of the day. If you guys are over there on YouTube or TradingView, hello, welcome. Get a little inside peek of what we do over here at Tier 1 Trading. And feel free to ask any questions or comments and all of that fun stuff. Participate. That is how you learn. And our live room members do a good job of helping you guys out. Let me close the chat down. You can see we having a little conversation on Bitcoin today as we got closer to the opening of the live room. And that was exactly the pair or the coin that I wanted to take a look at today, Bitcoin. So that worked perfectly. Aside from that, there's not too much in the markets that was really on my radar. Really, be honest with you, I'm in two trades right now, Euro yen, pound yen. But aside from that, there's not anything else out there that really has a lot of interest. And we got a light day of fundies, right? Fundamentals, light day of fundamentals today. Things are going to pick up this week on Thursday. So we should have kind of two clear trading ideas until some of the funkiness happens on Thursday. So let's get, hey Nelson, hey Ravioli, Billy, welcome, Pavan. Let's hop into things, right? And we're going to go over to Bitcoin. Now, I'm not a crypto expert or anything like that, but we look at it from time to time here in the live room. We have a lot of traders that do dabble into crypto. And, you know, fundamentally speaking, I have my own personal opinions about the long-term outlook on cryptocurrencies and whatnot. Not personally a big fan, but from a trading perspective, right, it doesn't really matter what the long-term outlook is. From a trading perspective, you're looking for short-term activity, short-term volatility, because if the market is moving, it provides opportunities to exploit your trading plan, exploit your edge, and hopefully make profit. So we've got an interesting setup on Bitcoin here, and we're going to start here in the daily. And I can tell you this, right? So we're going to end up looking at three potential trading opportunities on Bitcoin, and two of them are going to be potential pattern formations. One is going to be a potential trend continuation opportunity. None are really that exciting. So again, hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm not going to overly hype you up. But there are opportunities, and all of us have different trading styles. Some of us are more aggressive. Some of us are more conservative. So there may be a few things on here that stand out to you. So first and foremost, look at here, Bitcoin on the daily. Let's go through our IPDE process: identify, predict, decide, execute. Obviously, Bitcoin has been, right, recently in a bearish move, right? We've come down, we've kind of bottomed out at a previous level of structure looking left. Give me a second, let me get my big old arrow here. Looking left. And we started moving up to our previous outside return. So if you guys are not familiar, our previous outside return is going to be this, right? This is going to be a swing high to swing low. This is going to be an outside return or a pullback. This is going to be a new structure low, so another extension lower. And then we've come back up to retest that level, which is an important part. Now, not only is this an important level, but I guess what is more important is how price action acts at this level, because this is what's going to set up our IPDE process: identify, predict, decide, execute. So I like to draw out my favorite tool, the horizontal line, and ask myself the question, all right? Price has recently, right, identify. What has price action done? Price has recently returned to a previous level of structure. Now, after getting to that level of structure, what have we done? Have we violated it? Have we held it? You guys tell me, right? It's pretty black or white. It's not pretty black or white. It is black or white. It's one or the other, especially if you have rules for violation, right? It has held and it is currently being rejected. So we don't have any type of rotation here on the daily. And I should say this first and foremost. So your analysis is going to change depending on what your time frames are. This is why we always talk about you have to be consistent in your time frames. You can't be someone that looks at the daily, 4-hour, hourly one day, then the hourly, 15-minute, 5-minute the other day, then the 30-minute, 45-minute the next day, right? Because depending on what time frame you're looking at, you're going to have a different opinion, right? We have a hold here on the daily, but as we go down to a lower time frame, you're going to see a break and close above. Now, if we're using that I part of our IPDE identify to basically set up our trading opportunities, right? Do we want to be long or do we want to be short? If we have different opinions of what's happening, right? That's going to give us a different outlook on our trade, is it not? Right? There's a massive difference between Raymond looking at this on the daily and saying, hey, we held, right? That means one thing, versus Chris looking on the hourly and seeing, hey, we broke and closed. That means another thing. That break and close on the hourly for Chris could be a sign for, hey, trend continuation. Let's trade the first rotation. That hold on the daily for Raymond could be a sign of counter trend movement. Let's look for shorts or avoid any trend continuation. So it's extremely important that you know not only what time frames you're using, but what time frames you're using them for. Because so many traders get in trouble when we talk about trade hunting all the time. So here's an example of trade hunting. Let's say I'm a trader and I'm reading this news. I got this confirmation bias, and this is the time. Bitcoin has bottomed out, guys. Cheap as hell, right? Time for me to buy. So I enter the market, right? And what do I want to do? With that confirmation bias already, all my friends are talking about it. The news is talking about it. I want to buy, I want to buy, I want to buy. Where do you think my bias is leaning towards? What do you think I want to do? Right? I want to buy, right? So therefore, when I look at the chart, do you think I'm looking at a chart in an objective way, or am I looking for a very particular reason? Right? I'm looking at the chart and I want to buy. So I see this daily rejection. I'm like, oh man, that stinks. Stupid rules. Akil says if we don't break and close above, I can't do it. All right. What if I go down to the 4 hour? 4 hour, same thing. What if I go down to the hourly? Right? And before you know it, you're down on the 5-minute chart. And the 5-minute chart, you're like, oh, break and close above, pull back. And that's just the excuse you needed to buy. Right? So I always say that if you want to find something hard enough in the market, you'll find it. You'll find whatever you're looking for. The problem is that's not necessarily a good thing. And that gets so many traders in trouble because they just go looking for that confirmation bias. They just go looking for whatever it is they want to do anyway. And as soon as they get that reason, that's the first excuse for doing it. Right. It's like, I don't know if any of you guys have been like, if any of you guys are investors, right? This happens a lot with stocks, right? So let's say you're waiting on a particular stock, right? You're waiting on buying Peloton and you're looking for a very specific reason to buy it. Then all of a sudden news comes out, ooh, Nike and Amazon are interested. Nike, Amazon are interested, maybe Disney too, right? And you're supposed to wait for this specific reason or this specific price point. But because you want to buy it already, that was just the excuse. Oh, I got to do it before I miss out. Just the excuse you use to do it. Same type of deal here, right? So you have to be consistent in the time frame you use. It should be part of your trading plan. I use the daily for this, the 4 hour for that, or this is my higher time frame, this is my lower time frame, this is my trading time frame. Doesn't really matter what you use. I can care less. You can use the 13-minute chart for all I care, but you want to be consistent in doing it because consistent analysis plus consistent execution equals consistent results. So we got a few things here, right? So one, on the daily, we have a hold, right? We have a rejection here. So a few things can be setting up. I see two things right now. Do you guys see any of them? What are two things that could be potentially setting up here? Maybe 1.5. The second one may be, depending on your eyes. What are two things that could be setting up here? Here on the daily. I'll zoom in a little bit for you. Got a few things happening here. Gregory says maybe a head and shoulders, right? Knees and toes, knees and toes. Looking at a lefty right there, left shoulder, retrace, making a neckline. Head down here, retest of the neckline, maybe potential head and shoulders, right? Now, remember, we talked about this, I'm going to say last week and the week before, probably every week. The key point in the head and shoulders, right, is the violation of this. So whether you have it or a head and shoulders or not, the key is the violation of this level. Now, the hard part I have about a head and shoulders or any type of rejection of this level, this is where it gets difficult for me and why I mentioned I'm not too interested, is the prediction part, right? So the hard part for me is seeing, okay, if we violate this level, I do think this is a very important level. But if we violate this level, then where are we likely to go next? By the way, if you're over on YouTube, hit that like button. It's supposed to remind you to do that. I don't know, but do it. Yeah, so where do we go next? Because there's a few parts of the trading opportunity, right? One is the reason to trade. Two is there a path for me to make profit? That's important, right? We don't want to enter a trade if there's no path for us to make profit, because then it would be pointless, right? So where could we potentially go? And the fact that we have underlapping or overlapping structure here, right? We have this level of structure that's right beneath here, or I guess right above. Hard to project a move higher really past this zone for me. So for me, there's not a lot of meat on the bone. Now, again, this is going to depend on your analysis. If you're someone that says, hey, I'm only paying attention to the major swings, right? The swing lows and the swing highs, then there's plenty of room to these two levels. So a lot of this is going to depend on kind of your, I don't want to call it risk appetite, but we have different, there are people that are very conservative with structure, people that are very aggressive with structure. But that's something that you need to consider. Where do I think price is likely to go? And does that actually offer me opportunity? Is there room to trade it to the upside? So that's one thing. Someone mentioned this over on, Justin mentioned this over on YouTube. We got a potential Cypher as well, right? If we look at these legs right here, the same swing high to swing low, this is a tough one, but we just nip that 382, right? We do come down to touch our 127. Jaboink, shabing, right? So if we push up, we're going to have a potential Cypher pattern as well, looking like this, right? The swing high to swing low will be our X2A, our initial impulse leg. Our retracement right here, very shallow one, but meets the requirements, our A to B. Our extension down here is going to be our B to C. And if we push back up to the 786, that's going to be our CD completion. And that's going to give us a potential kill zone that looks like this, or potential reversal zone for a bearish Cypher here on Bitcoin. Now, trying to organize my thoughts as much as I can, because I'm typically all over the place when you have lots of ideas. If you're someone that is looking for a head and shoulders, and you get that head and shoulders and it doesn't travel to this level, that Cypher completion can also be confirmation of a target level, right? Maybe this level up here was a level that intrigued you for where we can go if price action is likely to continue up. Now you've got some confirmation there in the start of the Cypher completion zone. So if you're looking for a head and shoulders, hey, that could be a confirmation for that potential head and shoulders target as well, or the break of structure, however you want to play it. So two things there. Let's go down to the lower time frames, go down to the 4 hour. And we're going to see a few more things. And actually, this is going to change a little bit now, because earlier this morning when I did my analysis on the hourly, something different was happening, but I'll walk you through it. So just to follow up on our conversations of different perspectives. So this green line was the violation line, right? On the level we need it violated on the daily. Again, hold here on the daily. However, on the 4 hour, what do we have? Higher high, higher close, right? So someone that's using the 4 hours or higher time frame, so perhaps more of an intraday trader, maybe 4 hour hourly 15 or 4 hour hourly. This was a higher high, higher close, something you could have looked for, and we'll see if it holds true or not, was going to be a retest of this level right here, right? A pullback. This morning when I looked at this, we were holding it pretty nicely. Now we're trading below it, but we know that the candle isn't important until what? Does this candle mean a lot right now, the current one that's printing, or does it mean a lot more in about 17 minutes when it closes? What's the most important part of it? It's the close. And that's a whole nother psychological lesson in its own right. How about people get afraid and fearful and fear of missing out, or fear of that their stops are going to be hit, right? You got to wait for the close. The close is very important. We saw this the other day with, I forgot what pair it was, but we were looking for a buying opportunity, and I think it was dollar Swiss, and it was flirting with that level. Then we came back at the top of the hour and boom, nice little pin bar, right? So this thing could get sucked all the way up. You never know, and create a good pin bar. And if that is a good pin bar, that's a positive sign for anyone looking to buy, right? So it's good to kind of rehearse how you want to handle the situation. If this, then that. If this, then that. But remember, you don't want to act until the close, in my opinion. But originally this morning when we were holding this, I was saying, hey, right, this can be an opportunity for anyone that wants to buy on the way up. If this closes below, obviously that's violated. However, something else that could be happening here, I'm not sure if you guys mentioned it already, but another potential Cypher pattern, which can either be used as a Cypher in its own right, or an entry into a trend continuation trade if you're someone that's looking for that bullish continuation. X to A to B, B to C, C to D. Once again, I'll draw up the kill zone. down here for that Cypher completion, right at a previous level of structure right here, right above, and this is another interesting level that we can visit later on, this sideways structure shelf right here. And I don't know if that, I saw Raymond type in, I'm not sure if that's what he was referring to. Raymond says 40K. Nice swap level, right shoulder. Oh, looking for a right shoulder entry. So going back to the daily, going back to the head and shoulders, a little bit late reading this. If we go back to 40K, this level right here could be a nice level for a right shoulder entry. Yep. Now remember, with the right shoulder entry, well, different ways to trade it. We won't get into that too much. But so you got a bigger potential head and shoulders and or violation of a level. You got two potential ciphers here, a bigger bullish one, or excuse me, a smaller bullish one here. I'll get this into the pro trade log, by the way. Smaller bullish one here, and also a bigger bearish one. Any questions on Bitcoin? And Cody said, would love to see longs off of 42. And give me a second. We'll go back down. I just want to get this into our pro trade log. This will give YouTube or TradingView a chance to ask any questions if you have it while I'm getting these in. So give me a second, guys. I'm still here. It's just going to go quiet for a little bit. I want to make sure I load this into our pro trade log. Let's get this over here. This is BTC USD, potential bullish Cypher, 1 hour. Let's get this file in here. Just the boom. And then we got bearish Cypher on, what was it, the daily, right? Daily. BTC USD, potential bear Cypher on 1 day. I'll go back and read through the chat, see what you guys have to say. And then YouTube and TradingView will kick you out until tomorrow, where you can rejoin. Of course, live trading room members, we can continue on. Cody says looking for 42, area between 42 and 40s for potential longs. So this zone right here, same area that Raymond's looking at. This area right here. Cody says the thing traded in a super tight consolidation. Yeah, going back to that hourly again. Apologize for bouncing all over the place, but yeah, if this isn't a definition of a structure shelf, guys, I don't know what is. And you can see, right, this would have been a beautiful move right here. The break and close above, the direct retest of it. I mean, that's a no-brainer right there. And if you happen to miss that no-brainer, it gives you a secondary opportunity right here to trade it up to the highs. Right, that's a no-brainer trading opportunity in my opinion, especially with structure being up here. So this is, if you're if you're looking for a definition of a structure shelf, that is textbook. Cody says, "Yep," which could see set up a long head and shoulder. Just don't like the daily hasn't. Yeah, so that would be the thing. And going back to what Raymond mentioned earlier, right? So we call this the Cody special with the head and shoulders. There's multiple ways you can trade the head and shoulders pattern, the most aggressive of which would be at the right shoulder. And I think that intrigues a lot of people, but a lot of people also don't take the time to learn why we're trading it. They're just looking at this and saying, okay, well, trading it as the right shoulder is the best way because I can set myself up with a risk reward that looks like this and trade it all the way up here and blah, 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 blah. It looks great, right? But why we call it the Cody special, because Cody has a rule where the structural integrity of the entire setup is what dictates the right shoulder, right? And the structural integrity means, do we violate the previous high, right? Which happened to be the left neckline, right? Because if we do that, again, going back to the IPDE that we mentioned, right? If we can violate that left neckline, right? That gives us a higher high, higher close. If we have a higher high, higher close, we can predict a continuation higher. If we can predict a continuation higher, that is in line with the right shoulder, because the right shoulder, although it's a right shoulder of a head and shoulders, it is really just a pullback and the first chance, the first strike entry after a rotation, right? So it's kind of like combining two methods, right? It starts with the overall analysis and looking at the specific pattern. If we don't have this violation here, right, we have no reason on this time frame, right, to predict a continuation higher. If we have no reason to predict a continuation higher, do we necessarily want to involve ourselves in a buying opportunity? I do not, right? And let's just back it up and think about it from a common sense perspective, right? If I don't predict something is going to go higher, do I want to be long? Because if I'm long, in order to make profit, I need something to go higher, right? Doesn't make a lot of sense. I actually got the very same question this morning on, I don't have my phone. Let me see if I get my phone real quick. I got the very same question this morning on Instagram, right? Follow me on Instagram at AkilStokesRTM. If I ever DM you or reach out for money or to manage an account, it is the fake account they're very clever at pretending to be me. I actually, I followed myself once. That's how bad it was, guys. I'm not even lying, right? I followed myself because I thought it was me. It was they were good. They replaced like the L with like a capital I, so it looks the same. I'm like, man, that's good. But I got a question. Basically, I can't find it right now. It was basically a question from a structure trader saying, so let's say that this is a previous level of structure. I'll let you guys, what do you think about this? Say this is a previous level of structure. Let's say price comes to this previous level of structure, holds, and then comes back. He was asking if this would be a buying opportunity for him. Daryl said, "Did you buy?" Yeah, I gave him my bank account information and gave him all my money. OG. He said he can make me 100% in a month. That sounds like a no-brainer. Now I was a little bit confused with the address being in India somewhere, but I figured, traders, international nomadic lifestyle. I never did get that 100% though. But so you look at this situation right here, right? He was asking, is this a buy? And obviously it depends on the bigger dynamic of the trade. But I told him, for me, no, right? The buy, if you're looking at this as a trend continuation opportunity, for me would have been right here, right? For me to want to buy again as a trend continuation trader, and that's what he was referring to, right? Someone that's looking for a move up here, we would need a fresh break because the move has already been made, right? Price has already come to the level we thought it would come to, right? In order to have any type of clue that we're likely to continue higher, again, aside from this turning into like a flag pattern, right? We would need a violation, because once we have that violation, now it's like, okay, well, trend is continuing. Now we look for the pullback. Now this is another buy. So that's what we talk about when we say structural integrity and all that fun stuff. So that's very important first and foremost. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting level to look. And of course, you can look at this all different ways, right? And I know Cody's style, and he had to adjust this a little bit when he was going to get funded and whatnot, is Cody's probably more of a mercenary than any of us. And what I mean by a mercenary in the market is that, he is looking, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cody, he is looking for very short-term moves, like in, out, boom, bang. Right? Very short-term bull bias, boom. Very short-term bear bias. It's one of those things where, like, if we were to go down to the hourly, and let's say we come down to this shelf we talked about, he's probably looking for buys at this shelf, right? And you're telling yourself, well, Akil, if we never violate it, how is he predicting a move longer? He's just looking from a structure to structure move, where it's like, I know we're going to hold at this level. If we hold, we're most likely to bounce off this level and maybe return up here. That's where I'm looking for. Or if I'm looking for longer, once price gets to here, too many of the same arrow. Once price gets to here, stops are moved from here to break even, all risk off. Now we shoot for the home run. Yeah. Support and resistance, in my opinion, same exact thing as supply and demand. There's little differences, but in all honesty, I don't think it's worth. If you can read supply and demand, if you can read support and resistance, you can read supply and demand. There are small differences in key levels and what you should pay attention to, but think of them as the same way. I think, in my experience of teaching, you confuse a lot of newer traders. You confuse a lot of newer traders by trying to separate them. when they're essentially the same thing, because every supply and demand zone is going to be a support and resistance zone. It doesn't work that way, vice versa, but close enough. But yeah, but that's what he's looking for. How can I get a short move, take some profit, reduce risk, hold on for a big move? So there you go. Look at that YouTube trading view. You got a little bonus lesson in today with the trade of the day. So we're going to get ready to kick you guys out, but please do a few things. Hit that like button on the way out. Leave some comments below if you have any questions. I do go through and read them. And we'll be here tomorrow, same time, 7:30 a.m. New York time sharp. Trading View guys, you guys always come in late. I know Trading View doesn't do a good job of kind of letting you notice when this is happening, but 7:30 a.m. Come and join us, ask questions, come watch the walkthrough of the trade of the day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Live room members, I have a question for you. Where would you like to go next?